Yeah, it's like we've got this thing where like, you go to school, you go to college, and that's your life. Like by the time you graduate college, like with your bachelor's, you're 22. But no, if you want to change, you've got time. You just have to start something new. Like you're not going to be great at it, but just do it. Hell with it. You got plenty of time.
Welcome to the Military Bottom Line podcast, where we learn from veterans and those currently serving how to make the most out of a military contract. We're here to motivate, inspire, and help you leverage your service to positively impact you professionally, personally, and financially during your military career and beyond. Thanks again for tuning in. On this episode, I have Stephen Bearor. He's been in the Army for 16 years now and has done some pretty incredible things and has kind of lived that life that we all dream about when we're joining the military, doing the cool stuff, going to Ranger School, going to all these awesome combat schools that you see in the commercials, and he's basically lived that. So we talk about a lot about how to make the most of those opportunities, how to get noticed by leadership, and move ahead in your career, not only in the military, but how to use the opportunities available to you to excel after your transition too. So I hope you guys enjoy the show. What's going on, Stephen? Thanks for joining me today.
I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man. I was looking at our discussions previously, and it looked like you're from New England area, so we have that in common. Yeah.
I do miss it. Hopefully when I retire, I get to go back there, but we'll see if I can afford it.
Yeah, it's getting steep, that's for sure. But right on, man. So what made you join the military in the first place, and how long you been in now?
Oh man, I just hit 16 years a couple months ago. I joined because I went to college, was on the lacrosse team and the soccer team, so I partied more than college. And I was in Boston, and they were like, "Hey, you can come back, but you can't live in the dorms." And I'll be a college kid, man. I couldn't afford that. So I was a pretty good computer programmer, went back home, started working for a company called Transparent Language. And I just didn't like it. So eventually I got a phone call from a recruiter, and he was like, "Hey, you want to talk about the Army?" I said, "Yes." Guy didn't say anything for about 5 minutes. I don't think he ever heard yes before, but next thing you know, it's a base training, and here I am.
No kidding. Wait, so did you graduate college or no?
No, I dropped out after my first year. Probably scored, I think, 20 credit hours.
Okay. So they basically uninvited you to return because you were partying too much.
Yeah, they uninvited me in a way that wasn't that mean. It was like, hey, like I said, you can come back to school, but you got to find your own place to stay. And an apartment in Boston for a sophomore in college would have been pretty steep.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so then you joined the Army, you said?
Yep.
What, obviously, you did school for a little bit, you had a job for a little bit, and you weren't really enjoying it, but what were you looking to get out of the military? Did you have this vision that you would succeed at, kind of thing, or what was it?
I mean, I think I always wanted to be in the military growing up, because everybody plays, guns and stuff. And my family was in the Army or Air Force, depending on who it is. And I just needed that. I think I just realized I was mature enough to realize that I wasn't mature enough, if that makes sense. Yeah. And I just needed some discipline. And I figured out the military, I mean, watch Major Payne, and that guy did it for a bunch of 12-year-olds. They can do it for me.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to that. Mature enough to recognize that you weren't mature enough. Because I was definitely that way when I signed up. I'm like, I know if I go to college, it's going to be a big waste of time and money. So yeah, I can appreciate that. And I think it's most people.
That's all I did was just give.
Most people, if they're honest with themselves, I think, going into college, I think if they really thought about it, they'd probably recognize that they're not quite mature enough to spend that kind of money on an education they don't know what they want to do with anyways. So
yeah. Wasted a bunch of money doing that.
Yeah. Right on. So what did you end up, what did you sign into the Army for? What kind of MOS? I
signed up to be, it was an 18 X-ray. So it was a special forces recruit. Basically, you could go from being some bum off the street to a special forces soldier. That did not work out.
It did not work out. Okay. Like it was all a lie or what?
No, so it's a program the Army kicked off because the way the war was, they just didn't have enough of those specific people.
Mm-hmm.
So they just started trying to get guys, straight off the street. And they figured by hiring a mass amount of people, they'll at least get a few that worked out. And unfortunately, I just wasn't one of them.
Gotcha. Right on. Okay. So then how did that play out? Like, what did you end up doing if you didn't get that
the second job they give you is an infantryman. So whether you be shooting mortars or shooting rifles, and I got rifles. So.
Okay. All right. And you were happy with that? Like that's what you wanted? You were looking for a combat MOS specifically, or?
Yeah. I knew I wanted to do a combat MOS. Like infantry is kind of where it was at. I actually first went to a recruiter to be a rotor wing pilot.
Oh, okay.
And we spent like a month putting this 2-inch packet together of paperwork. Yeah. And then I sat down and they had a new poster behind him. It was this guy with a rebreather coming out of the water, like all super sneaky. Uh-huh. And I was like, what is that? It's like special forces. Like, sign me up.
No kidding.
So he was pretty pissed. But when it all comes down to it, I think what I wanted to do the whole time was run around the ground and do work. So I got it one way or another.
Yeah. It's interesting because it's kind of like I don't know, when you're saying you were a computer programmer before, it seems like a far cry, like I don't see the two overlapping. Like how did that connect?
I have less than no idea. I think you just, like I said, you're out in the backyard playing guns with your friends and no one's like, I want to be the commo guy or something like that. So maybe that's where it came from. I don't know. Or I felt deep down felt like I had to prove something to myself.
Interesting. Yeah. Cool. I mean, you stayed in 16 years, so obviously you've enjoyed it to some capacity, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously there are times that, suck, but overall it's been a good experience. Plus it's not really that hard of a job.
Okay. Interesting. I feel like I know the military, you know the military, obviously. So like we understand when you say it's not that hard of a job, maybe compared to what you're expecting. So like before we joined the military, we had this expectation of everything being so difficult because we build it up in our heads. But I think it's important.
That's definitely true.
I think it's important for like the kids thinking about joining now to realize that it's all doable. It's not like impossible by any means.
100%. Like I had a guy who joined, and when I was a platoon sergeant, so like 35 or so guys under me. And this one new guy showed up and we gave him his barracks room and he was like, just eyes wide. We're like, what's up, man? He was like, I thought it was just, 3 hot meals and a cot. Like that's what he actually thought the Army was going to be like. I was like, no, man, like this is basically your own apartment. Like have fun. Yeah. There's definitely a different perception that we make in our heads that's really not it.
Yeah. I mean that, and like movies, they don't help either. But
not at all.
How did that, attitude or lack of maturity or whatever you want to call it, going from college, being like the party animal that basically got kicked out of the dorms, how did that play out as you found yourself as a young enlisted dude in the Army?
I guess it was kind of an easy transition because I played like most guys growing up, I was an athlete. Mm-hmm. So it was kind of like the drill sergeant was coach now.
Yeah.
Effectively. So, and I was always pretty good at like taking in information. Like basically I was a soccer goalkeeper was one of my big things.
Yeah.
So you'd have your goalkeeper coach would always be like telling you what to do. And like, I always thought I was pretty good at taking that information in and then acting on it. So it's kind of just shifting from being a player and coach relationship on the field to a player and coach relationship in a sand pit at Fort Benning, Georgia.
Interesting. Yeah. So you think that like you were just busy enough that, and obviously barracks parties are a thing, but not on the same level. I mean, like what prevented you, like what kept you from, doing the same thing in the Army?
From doing maybe a sense of pride. I had the classic something bigger than myself.
Sure.
Like so my uncle, he did a whole bunch of, great work for the military. And one of the pieces of advice he gave me, before I joined was like, you're not just representing yourself, you're representing your unit. So there's that thing where like, I don't know, if I decide to party out in Seattle and go get a DUI on the way home, yeah, I look bad, but I also like everybody else does too. And kind of that that peer pressure of it's not only you, but
Yeah.
your squad leader, so the guy in charge of like 9 guys, the guy in charge of the 30 guys, like they're all going down, or at least feeling the pain with you or for you, and like I just didn't want to let anybody down like that.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true. You have far more responsibility to like not only yourself and your job, but like everybody else, especially when capital punishment still is a thing.
Oh yeah.
Right on. So, I mean, do you feel like you got what you wanted out of the military? I mean, 16 years in, like what has it done for you, I guess?
So it definitely gave me that discipline, maturity piece. You're kind of forced into it, whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
Like I'm also ADHD, like not just called myself that. Like I had a psychologist tell me I am. So like it gave me that structure that an ADHD kind of person needs to be really successful. So like if you get kind of a regimented structure and your brain works that way, like you can just take off. And it's just been really good for me. Nice. Just having like kind of a set amount of rules where I can't go too far left or too far right. Like I've got to go straight. Yeah.
Yeah. Helps you stay focused and kind of in line. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. I can appreciate that. I know you've gone to like, I mean, tell us a little bit about your career. 'Cause 16 years, obviously you could talk all day about it, but kind of give us a quick overview of what you've accomplished.
I mean, I've done every job the infantry has to offer, from, lowly rifleman to a first sergeant. I've also been a sniper and reconnaissance team leader, sniper and reconnaissance squad leader. I was also a Pathfinder platoon sergeant deployed. So I got to do all those cool, fun jobs. I've been to, probably every school known to man, minus airborne. I haven't jumped out of a plane for the sake of doing it. That's just not something I'm really into at this point. I've deployed twice to Iraq and once to Afghanistan. And I've only been to 3 duty stations, though. I spent 6 years at Lewis in Washington, 8 years at Drum in New York / Canada. And now I've been in Colorado for a year.
I mean, I have not heard good things about Drum, but Colorado and Washington don't seem bad.
No, Colorado, Washington, amazing. I guess Drum being in New York, if you were there for a normal period of time, it'd probably be okay. But just shy of a decade, I would not recommend that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that Drum has some of the lowest recorded temperatures in the U.S. Is that there's something about it being brutally cold in the winter?
Yeah, there was one time where it was legitimately colder, in the Fort Drum area than it was on Mars, which is, I don't know, like 8 billion miles further away in the sun than we are. Yeah, there's all sorts of winds and craziness that it gets pretty bad.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So a career in the infantry, where you're doing cool stuff. You're going to like the cool schools that, when high schoolers or college students are like dreaming about doing the cool things in the Army, they're dreaming about what you're doing, and living through it and doing it. Like, what is that like? Did it satisfy that itch? Like, was it as positive and as fun of an experience as you hoped it would be?
It did. I mean, sometimes we all wish that we did that cool kind of stuff a little more, because like most jobs in the military, you might do that for like 1 week, a month, and the other 3 you're moving something from this building to this building because it needs to be over there for some reason. So, I mean, I did get a lot out of it, got enough out of it to scratch the itch. I always wish I could have done more, but just is what it is.
After 16 years, are you more of you're more of an administrative role now and less on the ground? Knuckle dragon, if you will.
Yeah, that's the only bad part about getting promoted in the infantry. You get further and further away from I don't know what you love doing, for lack of a better term. But in the unit I'm in now, I'm actually I'm the first sergeant, the commander, because you have to have one in the Army.
Sure.
But when we break down to work, I'm the second in charge of a 12-man team. So it's pretty cool to be able to go with the new job, kind of be able to get back to it. Granted, we don't do any of the gunfighting that we used to do, but it's still cool to be part of the team rather than being in the back, making sure everyone's backpack doesn't get stolen.
Yeah, right on. All right. So, I mean, what, after 16 years, would you have done anything differently that you would, advice that you would give to a younger guy that's maybe joining now?
Yeah, I'd say just go for it. with whatever you want to do. Cause I sat for years in between, do I want to go to like the special operations world? Do I want to go to Ranger Regiment or Special Forces? And I sat there thinking about it so long that I basically just got too old and couldn't do either one.
Wow.
I mean, I try to do some
kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I try to get some waivers going off, but you also have to get, the infantry also has to be like, yeah, okay, I'll let you do that. And, just by the time I decided what I want to do, it was just too late. No one would let me go anywhere. So yeah, don't get caught thinking about it. Just run with it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something to be said for, momentum in a career or anything for that matter. Like while you have that momentum, don't slow down and like think about a decision too much when you're at fork road. Just make it and move, and yeah, because that sucks. Definitely. Like if you have an idea, you have this thought in your head, but then, all these age, cutoffs that happen in the military, it sucks for sure. But right on. What would you, I mean, you're in charge of a lot of young guys now, right? Now you've been in 16 years. Do you feel like, I don't know, has it changed much over the 16 years?
Oh yeah. And some people complain about it. Like, the kids aren't as hard these days as we were, but like, if you look back at the World War II people, they'd say the same thing about us. So like, it's always going to change. And while, it may be a little more tough to go on a 12-mile hike than it used to be. The guys now, like with all the, all the computer systems and radios that we have strapped to us, like those young kids, they're excellent at it. They're great at it. So like, while, you may have lost some points in one column, you're gaining them in another one. So it's different, but I mean, it's all the same too. There's
no doubt, like we're getting more and more gear to carry, which makes those rucks that much more difficult. So, those World War II guys, I'm pretty sure they weren't carrying around sappy plates and Kevlars. I mean, maybe a Kevlar, but not sappy plates and massive rucks. So
yeah, exactly.
the load is getting heavier despite our technology and machinery getting stronger. So, but right on. So what has been your favorite place the Army has sent you? I mean, you've 3 duty stations, 16 years, actually like less than I would have expected. But what's been the favorite location the Army has sent you so far?
Where I am right now, Colorado.
Really? Okay.
It's like to include most of the Air Force bases too. We're right on the Front Range. So we're the Rocky Mountains start. So if you just look any direction while driving and you've got like Cheyenne Mountain, the one that like in all the zombie movies, the base in the mountain, like it's right there. You can drive like an hour into the mountains and you're in Aspen. It's just beautiful area.
Yeah.
And it's also a city. So there's things like Grubhub if you want. There's places to go eat and stuff to do as opposed to Fort Drum where there's a McDonald's and that's the fancy place to go.
Yeah. But it also takes Fort Drum to know how good you have it now, so it's all relative.
That is true. Yeah. Cause there's some guys that'll come here for the first place and they think like, this is what the Army is. Like, no, man, you could go to Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was in Camp Pendleton for my first duty station. And so it was like San Diego. I'm like, the Marine Corps is great, man. Like do this all over again. But there are numerous places, Yuma or 29 Palms that you could get stationed. It's not as ideal. So
horrible. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely appreciate what you have because it could always be worse. But right on. What have you found to be like your favorite opportunity that the Army has provided you?
So I'll go with 2 if you don't mind. I got like a military one and kind of a civilian one. Military wise, Ranger School, just because it just shows you what you're made of. Like it's miserable, but you find out like if you can hack it or not kind of thing. You really learn kind of who you are as a person. And that's something that's invaluable in my book. As for kind of civilian and not so military life related, they have a class called Master Resilience Trainer.
Okay.
And it was developed by some doctor at the University of Pennsylvania. I honestly don't remember her name, but it's a whole lot of kind of civilian style coping mechanisms or kind of ways to think about life that'll just help you through. There's like one module, if you will, talks about how you have to separate what happened from your thoughts and consequences. Cause like if you just act right away based on the event's going to trigger thoughts, obviously enough. And if you act on those, you're not going to pay attention to the consequences of your actions. That's like one of them. There's some that like, if you're kind of circling the drain about how like life's horrible or you're not going to get this promotion or whatever it is, there's techniques to kind of offset that. And there's like 13 different techniques now that are just, they'll get you out of a bad spot or your subordinates out of a bad spot, which is, also an amazing thing to know how to do.
Was that a school that you were able to volunteer for, or like you got voluntold for it, or like how could somebody else take advantage of those two opportunities, Ranger School and that one?
Oh, Ranger School, you have to volunteer for. There's a pretty big process at most places to go because it's pretty expensive and you're at least gone for 2 months. So that starts usually with a pre-Ranger program, and that's listed in all your post-school stuff. For Master Resilience Trainer, at least in the Army, I can't speak for the rest of the military, there's each level, whether it be battalion or brigade, has a Master Resilience Trainer, and you go through them to get that school. And it's about, now it's 10 days at your duty station. Okay. So it's not even that tough to go away, and every company's supposed to have one. So it's usually a pretty easy school to get because most people don't want to do it. I don't know why. There's probably some sort of stigma about it that I don't understand, but I think it's a great opportunity.
Is it rank dependent? Like, do you have to be a certain rank or billet to be able to go to it?
Usually you have to be a sergeant or a staff sergeant minimum, but there's always like, if they're hurting or if they have a lot of seats open, usually they'll take some of the younger guys. They just won't allow you to technically be the guy on paper who's that company's Master Resilience Trainer.
Gotcha. Okay. How can somebody, a younger enlisted dude that wants to take advantage of these opportunities, that maybe there are these like limitations or like, you have to be the next rank or whatever. How can a go-getter take advantage of these opportunities if technically they're not qualified for you? Is there a way to make that happen, or like, to prevent holding somebody back that's really wanting to make things happen?
Well, one, there's always a waiver process. And sometimes am I the leader going to do it for you? No, because if you can't take the time to put a couple pieces of paper together, then I'm not going to trust you to be able to go through the course.
Sure.
But really it's like, so I got this kind of theory, if you will, that like everybody's a leader, whether if you're all brand new privates that just showed up, there's always that one who's like doing the right thing that everybody's looking to, like, hey, I don't know, Mike, what should we be doing right now? Or, oh, John's actually doing this, maybe we should too. Be that guy. Yeah. Be that leader at whatever level you're at. And the people above you are going to recognize that, and they'll slot you in for opportunities. Like they'll have you earmarked for when that slot pops up.
Yeah. So it's definitely building a reputation as, an initiative taker and a leader from the beginning.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay. So how can somebody other than taking initiative shape themselves to, be that leader and like get noticed, get promoted, and further become like a respected leader down the line in their career?
The Army still has this thing about like PT, and granted, I'm not set on this thing, but so the old PT test, we're in the middle of transition, maxes out at 300, and you could be just not the best soldier in the world, but if you got a 300, everybody thought you were amazing. Like, yeah,
it's like the Marine Corps too.
So you've got to be able to do some sort of PT. You can't be just passing the bar. Yeah. But if you're decently good at PT, and even if you're just trying to learn, asking questions, I know I'm going to say taking the initiative again, but it doesn't necessarily have to be taking the initiative in cleaning the bathroom or in making sure everybody's there on time. It could just be as much as, being the guy who's reading the books, trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing, or, the guy who's just even giving, if you've seen a little bit more in life than the guy next to you, just teaching them about life, like whether it be, maybe you're not a financial planner, but you're telling some guy, hey man, you should probably put more in your retirement account, even stuff like that. Like, believe it or not, that you think it doesn't get noticed, but it does. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely makes sense. And I think a lot of people can get like discouraged, maybe thinking that what they're doing and their efforts of going above and beyond, whatever that might look like for them, don't get noticed. But I think it's a patience game, and like as long as you're doing the right thing consistently, it gets noticed. That doesn't mean it's automatically overnight going to turn into a promotion or a new opportunity.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, investing in your retirement. It's like little by little, it accumulates into something that's going to be worthwhile down the road. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Cool, man. So what, I like to give people like an idea of like what an experience in the military can look like. And I know the good, the bad, and the ugly range like across the board for, everybody's experience is different. But early on, like I was only having people only talked about good things on the show, and my brother's like, "Man, I should have joined the military." And I'm like, "Well, I gotta fix that because there's definitely like a downside to it too, But to whatever you're willing to discuss, like what is, what's your best day versus your worst day kind of thing to give an idea of like the reality of it all, I guess.
I mean, to go far spectrum, like a best day like deployed is amazing because you're doing your job, you're building camaraderie with people that you're never going to experience again. And it's just like you have, when you're not working, you have nothing to worry about. It's just you're sitting there doing whatever you want. Like your time's your time, and it's amazing. And then on the flip end of the bad spot is when you're working. Like sometimes people get killed and they don't come home. That's it's kind of the best and the worst together. But on a normal day, being back, one of the best days is just going to be honestly being out there training. Like being out there in the woods doing what you signed up for is so much fun. Yeah. And then the worst days are those days when like being a young guy where you can't go home because you're waiting on the proverbial word, but you're just sitting there for like 5 hours throwing rocks in a bucket. Like that would be my worst day. Like, I haven't done anything for half this day. Why am I still here? I mean, it happens more often than anyone would like to admit, but
dude, hurry up and wait. Yeah. I mean, it's a slogan for a reason. And I speak on that a lot because like, I don't know, those times where you are waiting on that proverbial word is like, dude, there's a lot of it. There's more than we'd like to admit. And so it's like there's so much time that young guys and girls can be doing productive things, like rather than throwing stones in the bucket kind of thing. I mean, what, like from your perspective, from your level of leadership and stuff, like what should these guys and girls be doing with that time while still being prepared for whatever it is they need to do?
What I would do, like, first thing, you can talk to your boss and be like, hey, can I go to my room and work on, say, college? Like, if anybody denies that, like, there's a problem there and you got to talk to that guy's boss. But, like, as long as you're still available, it shouldn't be a problem. But, yeah, I would probably work on college because right there, like, let's be honest, you got that, we'll say 2 hours to be nice. Sure. You got 2 hours of uninterrupted time before you got to come back for them to just say you can go home. Yeah. Like, in all the courses I've done, might take me 15 to 30 minutes a day to be able to get a good grade on. Yeah. And if you're effectively being given that time, it's just up to you to say like, hey, can I go to my room and do this class? And I would say that would be probably my number one thing, whether it be, I mean, it can be college, it can be any sort of trade work, or even like working on your side hustle, learn how to build a website or something. Like if you bring up like, hey, can I go, work on schoolwork in my room? And I'm not going to tell you no. And that's what I do. Yeah. Don't lie. Be there.
Yeah. Seriously, that's critical too. That's an easy way to ruin your reputation. But yeah, no, I mean that's something I try to tell people too is like the things that will if you're doing classes or learning how to make website or code, like those things that are going to get you a job in the civilian world will also get you promoted in the military. Like those are the things. Yes. That like they're beneficial across all fronts, like you have nothing to lose by taking college classes or learning a new skill or something like, and everything to gain, Yeah,
especially because with the right programs, I mean, the Army will pay for it or the military will pay for it. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you taken advantage of those programs or like, I mean, I know that you mentioned Cool. I'm not familiar with Cool.
Yeah. So I've only done the tuition assistance to actually get like normal degree just because, like to quote that movie, it's what you do after high school. Sure. My buddies have all used so Cool's kind of going out to the Credentialing Opportunities Online. It was kind of like say you were an air conditioner guy in the Army, then it would get you like your credentials being an HVAC guy outside. And there was probably some behind the scenes stuff to change it, but now there's this program called Ignited. And what that is it takes like a half hour to sign up and you can do whatever. So like if you're HVAC guy in the Army, you can stay with that program, or there's like an option that's like, I want to do something else. And then you can get civilian credentialed for like a good friend of mine has, and he just did it basically because he felt like it. He's a certified home inspector.
No
he
kidding.
has his like license to be a parachute license. So he can tandem with people as long as they sign the waiver.
Huh.
And he's getting his pilot's license all through this Army Ignited program.
His pilot's license too.
His pilot's license.
Dude.
Fixed wing, Cessna pilot's license.
And the Army's paying for it.
Yeah. The only difference is for tuition assistance, you get $4,500 a year. In the Ignited program, you get $4,000. So
Interesting.
$500 less.
Interesting.
And they also pay, if I remember right, so like a lot of things, like anything, you have to take a test to become certified.
Sure.
They'll pay for the first two.
Okay.
So like if you think you know enough, you can just go for it and see if you get certified. And if not, take the class and then take the test later. It's pretty good system that like no one's really taking advantage of.
Yeah. Dude, man, it's funny. I was writing kind of an article for a video I'm going to make about, there, in my mind, there's like two ways to go in the military. You either get like a military job where it's like gives you that military experience, combat kind of stuff. Like that's what the military is meant for. And you're going to scratch that itch, or you're going to go the route that prepares you for a transition out and gives you a good job afterwards. There's all these jobs like in the middle that don't really do much for you other than like get you the VA benefits. But it's cool to know that like even in the infantry, like you can get that military experience, but also there's these opportunities to like get those credentials that will get you a job afterwards. Yeah,
it's pretty. And like my friend says that he calls it his side hustle school. Cause like if if he's got a weekend off and he wants to go inspect a house, like and get a few $100 extra, he could do that. And I'll use the word legal, but like he's a certified guy to do it. Like
sure. Yeah.
Like he calls it his side hustle school. He's just knocking stuff off that he can do on the week, stuff he wants to do in the future, like fly, or something he can just make a couple extra bucks with. Like it's a pretty genius way to do it. Good for him.
Yeah. I know there, I don't know if maybe I should talk to him about it, about like moonlighting. Is that allowed, or like what kind of hoops do you have to jump through?
You just your commander's got to say, yeah, you can do it.
Okay. No matter what it is, even if you're like an Uber driver or something.
Technically, yeah.
Okay.
Like, is someone going to get mad at you if you're doing an Uber driver on the weekend? I mean, really, no. But it more gets fishy or froggy, whatever you want to say, when you get jobs that have like hours. Because then, like, I mean, if the Army needs you, the Army needs you. Yeah, better get your shift covered or what. Like, that's on you. But like for stuff that's like Uber, Grubhub, Instacart, that sort of stuff you can do on your own. Yeah. I mean, you should still get your boss's approval, but you're not going to run into any problems because, like, if you have duty, you just don't turn Uber on.
Sure.
You'll probably be all right.
Sure. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's so many opportunities to learn things outside of your job, to make money outside of your job. Like there's a whole lot of time and available resources to like grow, financially, professionally, personally, like during those downtimes. Yeah, it's crazy, man. And
and the Army just gives it to you.
Gives it to you, man. Like just give it to you.
There's so much downtime. Like people are just going to sit there and play like, whatever the hot game is on the phone. Like right now, everyone's just going to sit around a circle and play Among Us. Like you could go up to your room and become a home inspector in a couple weeks, man.
Seriously, dude. I mean, thankfully I've never heard of Among Us. I'm not much for, the cell phone games, thankfully, but yeah, it's true. People will spend those 2 hours scrolling through the same Facebook feed instead of taking a class.
Yeah.
But man. Yeah.
Exactly. If you use your time wisely when you're young, it'll play off.
Oh, absolutely. And it's one of those things that like, I think I did pretty well, but even in hindsight, I'm like, I could have done it better. Like I could have done it more wisely. I could have spent more time researching these opportunities and taking advantage of these opportunities.
Me too.
That's
why with my guys, I'll be like, I mean, I won't force them to do anything, but I'm like, come on, man. Especially like in the COVID environment now, like my big boss is very like, don't come to work unless you have to. I'm like, just get on the computer, man. Take some classes. Like, why not? It's a perfect time. You can do whatever you want to do during the day.
So you have all these infantry dudes that like, they're basically not coming to work because of Rona.
Yeah. Like it's a big thing, especially in Colorado. And my boss is very like, being in this building is a terrible place to be. So we'll go out into some of the training areas and do some stuff. We'll have like classes on Teams, which is just like Zoom. It's just the one the Army decided to use.
Yeah.
We'll have like, we're kind of forcing the younger guys to make like PowerPoints so they can get comfortable with them and just get them more comfortable talking in front of people. But I mean, that's only taking up a certain amount of your day.
Yeah.
Like it's basically the same downtime, except now you're in front of your computer instead of being, in the office.
Yeah.
So like, instead of put down Call of Duty for a couple hours and take that course,
Yeah.
get some traction on your degree.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously. I remember, I don't know what it's like in the Army, but in the Marine Corps, they usually have like FAPs, like temporary Marines that work at the gyms, and like, they're just there. I don't even know. They don't really have a role, but they're always like playing on their phone. And I would see the same guy every day sitting there doing nothing for like his 8-hour, 10-hour shift, whatever it was. And like, man, one day you're going to look back and regret all this time you wasted on your phone.
Oh yeah. The guy, like, he hands out like 2 towels an hour and that's it. Yeah. I know that guy.
Working hard. He's earned his paycheck, But,
when he gets paid the same as you, oh man, that would always make me mad. But
yeah. I mean, the whole rank structure, equal pay is it benefits some people more than others.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Some people work harder for their money, but
true statement.
Yeah, right on, man. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take your whole day, but like, do you have any closing comments or I mean, I know you talk a lot about on your Instagram page, which I actually wanted to ask you. What made you come up with the whole good initiative, bad judgment for your name?
Oh, it's probably the worst name for what I do. But
I would have expected it to be a page of like bad choices.
It should be so much something actually hilarious. But I just asked some guys, like, what should I name this? And someone was like, good initiative, bad judgment. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's run with it. And then by the time it kind of like, I won't say caught on because it really hasn't yet, but yeah, I'm too far into the game to change it to something else. Like it's not the best name for trying to motivate people, but it is kind of funny.
That's all right. The name doesn't matter. I mean, at some point you just had to pick the name, and that's what I did with mine. And I'm like, well, for the SEO purposes, it has military in it, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, once people find you, they see what you're about, and it's what you put out there that matters, not really the name of what it is. Yeah. So awesome, man. Any closing comments? Any closing wisdom that you want to part on us?
I would just, if you're already in the Army, at least look up Ignited. Just get after it right now. Start your side hustle. The Army's going to pay for it.
Yeah, dude. Side hustle.
That'd be my advice.
That's another good point that I've noticed going from active duty to now in the reserves and like having a civilian career and stuff, is that when you're in the military, I don't know, for me, at least when I was active duty, I was like, I don't really think of work as like work because you're in a contract. Like you don't have another choice. There's no other choice. You're going to do it until the contract's up. But as soon as you're in a civilian job and you realize like I could leave this at any point in time for something else or to do something else, like you're always looking for something else that you enjoy more or a way to not work. But if I knew that I would have that mindset when I was active duty, I would have like prepared myself more. So like building a side hustle now while you're active duty will then give you the freedom to like not stick with a job you hate if you find yourself in a job you hate afterwards, Yeah.
And I mean, if you do something like my buddy did home inspecting or HVAC, like you can, I mean, you'll already be certified. You'll be like, I have a civilian buddy he got into HVAC and like he had to apprentice and like work with somebody for a while. And then eventually he was like his own effectively independent contractor. Yeah. Well, like you could already be that. You could already have that certification to work on your own effectively when you get out.
Dude, and those trades right now can pretty much charge whatever they want.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
That's like one of the things I was talking to my wife about. Like I kind of want to be a plumber just because nobody wants to do it. Yeah. Like, I don't care. I can just wear the same clothes and take a shower. Like, I'll be all right. Yeah. Yeah. Like, I don't care if someone judges me because I'm, like it's not trying to sound mean, but it's the thing people do. I'm not like, I'll fix but you know what? You're going to pay me $300 to do it. And that's for, 20 minutes of work. Like, let's be honest here. Yeah. That's just a smart move.
Yeah. It's totally true. I mean, I feel like society's become like a white collar society, like But there's so many. Honestly, I mean, I enjoy working with my hands. I love the blue collar jobs way more than I love typing at a keyboard and doing this whole thing. Because at the end of the day,
exactly like you said. But like those white collar jobs, you've seen all the TV shows and the movies of like the stock traders and Wall Street. Uh-huh. Yeah, there's a small number of those guys. The normal white collar jobs are like effectively my job, where I go in and I work on Excel and PowerPoint and then go home and wonder why I did it all day. But like the blue collar guys are the ones they're doing the job that like for some reason I think I'm good, like I shouldn't have to do, but like they're getting paid.
Yeah.
Like those guys, they're driving around nicer trucks than I am. Like, what am I doing? Like they're the smart ones, man. Just do it.
Isn't there a show called Blue Collar Millionaires or something like that? I don't, it sounds familiar, but I think it is like a bunch of
there should be.
There should be. Yeah. No, I'm all about it, man. Like owning a home now and actually like doing the work. I'm like, dude, I have more fun, fixing these pipes than I do.
Yeah, me too. Like, and that sense of accomplishment after doing it, like, it's amazing.
Yeah. Right on, man. Awesome. So what, you got 4 more years left, or how much longer do you think you'll give it?
I mean, 4. I'll if I keep getting jobs that'll give me a better job in the civilian world, then I'll stay in. But something that kind of people forget is after you hit 20 years, you're effectively working for half your paycheck. Because like once you hit 20, you'd be getting 50% of your base pay. I mean, you wouldn't be getting your housing allowance and that kind of stuff. But so it's got to be worth it for me to stay in to keep to stay in longer than 20. Yeah.
Interesting. Good point. I didn't think about that actually. Right on, man. Well,
like nothing against the military. Like I love it. It's giving me what I have today, but like, hey, the military is going to keep going.
Sure.
Whether I'm there or not.
Yeah. Just another number. That's the reality of it, Do you have hopes for the next 4 years? I mean, or anything that you hope to achieve or try out?
Well, I wanted to try out for this new, I guess, relatively old thing called Asymmetric Warfare Group, but they decided to shut it down. So that's not going to happen.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah, exactly. Really, I just hope I can take the next step up in leadership and be able to affect, 800 guys and give them, impart some of the knowledge, like, hey, start the side hustle stuff, or just generally how to just have a better mindset. Because you see a lot of guys that are just kind of, they're just getting by for a sense, like they're just living instead of trying to get to that next level of personal greatness. And hopefully I can impart, some motivation on those guys to try to just take that next step.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a difference between, as corny as it sounds, between existing and living, it's like, just like pick something that you want and just go get it. Like do whatever you have to do to get there. And if you don't like that anymore, then pick another thing and like move on to that. Like, don't
do
just
the next thing.
Don't just fall into the next thing, like pursue it. But
yeah, it's like we've got this thing where like, you go to school, you go to college, and that's your life. Like by the time you graduate college, like with your bachelor's, you're 22. But no, if you want to change, you've got time. You just have to start something new. Like you're not going to be great at it, but just do it. Hell with it. You got plenty of time.
Yeah. It's better than starting that career at 22 years old and being like, this sucks, but this is my life now, so I'm just gonna keep doing it for the next 60 years.
Hell that. That's a waste.
Yeah, right on, man. Awesome, dude. Well, I appreciate you sharing your story, your wisdom, and nice to meet you, because I've been following you for a little bit, and you've got good wisdom, and it should be heard, so I appreciate it.
Cool. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. We'll stay in touch. I look forward to seeing what the next 4 years holds for you.
Thanks.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode as much as I did. If you have not heard of Steven or want to know more about him, then I would highly suggest giving him a follow on Instagram at Good Initiative Bad Judgment. See you guys next time.